All right, everyone. I hope you can see me. Whoops, wait a minute. There's another one. There's another one. Oops. For the record books of not having it all ready to go right at the start. But, it's just me. It's just me. I don't have anybody clicking buttons and doing stuff for me um, anywhere else here. I don't have a co host or anything. So it's just me. So, what you're going to see across the bottom, for those of you who are joining by audio or by video, is the words "This episode is pre-recorded," and indeed, it is pre-recorded. It is pre-recorded for one gigantic reason, is because on Thursday, March the 23rd, 2023, I got up and came downstairs to the bunker to get some cat food to feed the cats their breakfast about, oh, I don't know, it was 5:30 or so. And there was water in the floor. And Bob, the dog, he sometimes will slip in the basement and use the bathroom when he is confined to the house for long periods of time. I don't like it. It's preferable, however, to him peeing upstairs on the hardwood floor. So I do have a couple of those little blue puppy pad things down in strategic spots where he likes to go. And most of the time he does hit those. But I thought, darn it, Bob, yesterday while I was at church for Bible study and well, both of the dogs were here in the house for a long time. But normally he's okay when I go to Bible study. And so I got to look and I thought, that's a lot of, wait a minute. Oh no, that water's coming out from under the deep freeze. It's a fairly new deep freeze. And I thought this can't be right. So I popped open the deep freeze and everything was still solid in there. And I kind of glanced around and the way our basement is, it's an unfinished basement. The floor barely has any concrete left on it. It's the 1920s house, and the what little bit of concrete that's still left there is chipping away, and dampness does come up through it. And I thought, well, as you go to the back door, there's a large step up, and on the other side of the threshold is a drain where water that comes down the stairs, the basement stairs from the outside, will drain. And I guess it goes to an old septic tank. I don't know where it goes. I've never seen where it goes. There's also a drain in the basement floor over by the washer and dryer hookups. And sometimes when it rains, if there's a lot of leaves or debris that builds up outside on the outside of the basement door, that will back up and come in. We usually keep it really clear. We rarely have trouble with that. Sometimes in early autumn, when leaves are starting to fall, and we haven't quite, caught on to that they're falling like that. But I thought it didn't rain last night. And if it did, it didn't rain hard enough to flood that and make that pool up. And I looked and I started towards the back door, and the hot water tank sits in the corner on the left as you're facing the basement outside door. And I'm looking at this water as I'm walking back through there, and I notice where it's going, and I glance over and I see the um, a trickle of water coming out from behind a little some kind of little panel on this electric hot water tank. I'm assuming there's a valve of some kind in there, and this water's just running, just just. I mean, it wasn't gushing like a bathtub, but it's just running down the sides, and I'm like, oh. So I'm kind of assessing myself while I'm sitting there, and I think turn the water off. So I reached up and I thought I got them turned off. I actually didn't get them turned off completely. The water in both directions shut off. And I went upstairs and I fed the cats and I fixed some coffee, and I just sat there shaking my head because of all of the things that have gone wrong in the last couple weeks. I'm just exhausted. And I messaged the husband at work while he's at work, and I said, here's what's going on, and I just don't know. And so after a few minutes, well, after about an hour or so, I mean, there wasn't anything that could be done at that point anyway. You can't get somebody in to change the hot water tank at 6 in the morning. So I caught my breath and I thought, I got the water turned off. I'll drink some coffee and I'll go down and get it cleaned up. Got to put my street clothes on anyway. Can't do that, or well, don't want to do that in my pajamas. I could have, but I don't want to. And I once I got changed and stuff, and I came back down and started cleaning it up. And I don't have a lot of cardboard boxes sitting directly on the floor because of the dampness that's drawn up in it. But there was a lot of water to clean up, and so I had to get the shop vac plugged in. I emptied it more than a couple times, and I shop vacked up as much water as I could. Um, I had quite a few cardboard boxes just from deliveries and stuff. We have out in the doghouse, and those of you who have listened for a little while have heard me talk about the doghouse. It's a little building beside of us. We're going to need to pack up a lot of stuff in there, so I keep a lot of boxes to take over there because we've got to get stuff packed up and out of there to get the new roof on and stuff. We won't be able to get the roof on until, well, the contractor I talked to, I said I'm going to try to do it in April, but I don't have the front porch done yet, so I've got to get the front porch done first because I had already started that. Anyway, I was breaking down. I hadn't broken down the boxes, split the tape and folded them back down to so that they're easier to store. And I spent a lot of time breaking down boxes and throwing out stuff that had gotten wet that just needed to be thrown out, separating some stuff that needed to be donated into a box for donations because the original box for donations had gotten wet, and doing a little laundry and just some stuff down here. And the dampness is bothering me. So I had the door open too, trying to get some air circulating because it's about 76 outside and decently dry today. Right now, it's supposed to rain tonight. But I mean, my head's just starting to pound. I mean, there's so much stuff that has happened in the last couple of weeks. I'm just really emotionally exhausted from it. And I thought I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to record my Friday show, and I'll put it up. If I can make it work right, I'll put it up to go live, if you want to call it that, at the normal time. But I anticipate either one being in the process of removing the hot water tank or possibly putting a new one in by 10 o'clock in the morning. And since I'm in the bunker and the bunker's in the basement and the basement's unfinished and the unfinished basement is where the hot water tank blew, there's going to be a lot of noise and a lot of dust and a lot of nastiness and a lot of frustration and stuff. So it's probably best. And I thought, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to scrub my face up real quick with some ice cold tap water. I could have boiled some water, but I just want to be presentable a little bit. And being back live on Tuesday, hopefully with a brand new hot water tank. So what has been going on for a little while that has so several of you know, because you've listened and watched the show, that my church, I've been struggling with things at my church. Well, the HVAC went out, the heating portion of the HVAC went out a couple weeks ago, and we thought the problem was with the circuit board. So we bought a new circuit board, I had a gentleman agree that he would help me put it in. He's a professional, and he was going to do it on the side, in the evening. And so on a Monday, he said, I'll get with her." Talking about me, he was talking to my husband. He said, "I'll get with her and I'll get that put in." So I messaged him a couple times over a little over a week, and let him know that the part hadn't come in, and the part hadn't come in. It was supposed to be in. We ordered it on a Monday. It was supposed to be in on Friday. It didn't come in on Friday. It came in the next week. And then I messaged him and said, "I'm going to go pick up the part. It's in." And all of this time he's not responding. So um, today's Friday. On Monday this week, I I messaged him early in the morning, first thing in the morning, because I knew about what time he'd be going to work, because my husband used to work at kind of job, and I knew about what time they had to be in the off in well, they were not in the office, but anyway, on the job. And I said, "Harold, if you can't do this, please just let me know so that I can get somebody else to do it, because we've got to get this taken care of." And he says, "Oh," and he calls me back on Monday morning about 7:30, and he says, "Oh, no, no, I'll be there this evening. I'll be there this evening." And I said, "Okay, well, call me when you're on your way and I'll meet you at the church. It's easy to find. Just as soon as you turn into town, it's straight ahead. It's the white church, straight ahead." Okay, no problem. Well, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30 come around, and he hadn't contacted me at all. So I texted him and I said, "Did you forget?" And he still didn't answer me. And this really upset me, because I was depending on him to put that part in, and I was depending on him to tell me if it was going to work, and if it wasn't, what we needed to do next. And he didn't answer me. And so I went over and I took a picture, because I had watched the husband take the panel off and look at the circuit board and tell me why he thought it was bad and different things. And so I knew how to replace it. I just didn't want to, because I'm not the professional doing it. So I went over and I replaced the circuit board, and it didn't fix the problem. So that was Monday. On Tuesday, I called one of the ladies at the church, and she has some limited cognitive abilities. She's not like, I mean, she's not helpless or anything, but she has some learning issues. And I had called her because she's always saying, "When you come over to the church, I want to help you. I want to help you." I said, "Okay, fine." So I reached out to her and I said, "Hey, I want to go over the heater's not fixed, but we can use one of the classrooms. I just need to move tables over into the classroom, clean that classroom, because the classrooms are in the basement of the church. The fellowship hall is attached to the back of the church. So they're two different parts of the buildings, or two different buildings altogether. And the classrooms have their own heating system." So, "Oh, yeah, well, I'm eating lunch right now and I'll be over there as soon as we're done." I said, "Okay, fine. I'm going to go on over and be thinking about how we want to set stuff up. And, when you get finished," because she's just, a mile or so away. Well, an hour went by and she wasn't there. And I just got aggravated, and I went ahead and started moving stuff, started wiping things down, started getting things set up, and was 98% finished when she showed up. And she came in, "Oh, I got to talking to so and so, and I forgot all about it." And I'm flustered already, because I'm struggling to keep the church open and to do some things to draw, people back in. And I just kind of feel like that. Oh, I have to be careful how I say this, because I don't want it to come across. I don't want to give the impression that nobody else cares. I don't want to give that impression. But we're really struggling. I just don't know that the few people that are still able to attend, understand just how much I'm having to juggle to try to keep the front door open. And I'm not able to keep it all juggled. I mean, there's some things that aren't happening that are going to catch up to me quickly. But anyway, So she said, "What do you want me to bring tomorrow?" "I'll bring some donuts." And I said, "Okay, that sounds great." Well, tomorrow was was going to be Wednesday. And she shows up without what she said she was going to bring. Oh, I forgot. And I had some things. It was the snack stuff, the stuff to eat with the coffee and things. And um, I had brought some things, which was fine. And it was just very upsetting that all this was happening. And well, let me back up just a minute because this before we get to Wednesday on Tuesday, while we were in the building, while we were downstairs, she had somebody with her, and we were talking about some of the things that we needed to clean up. There's a lot of trash left in the downstairs. They had some work done on it probably 10 years or more ago, and there's still broken ceiling tiles in a box and just old nails laying around like bent, like they pulled them out of stuff. Just trash, bits and pieces of wire, dead bugs. I mean, just stuff that needs to be cleaned up. So I was talking to the other lady while the first lady went to the bathroom, and she didn't come back. She didn't come back, and I said, "Is she okay?" And the other woman said, "Well, she had been feeling bad, but I thought she was over it because they're related. Let me go check on her." I said, "Okay." So I hear some chatter, kind of excited sounding chatter, and I start heading into the fellowship hall, which is where the bathroom is now. So you have to go to the fellowship hall to go to the restroom, even though there's no heat. So I'm starting through the doorways, getting in from one part of the building to the other, and I hear, calm down. It's not that bad. It'll be okay. It'll be okay." And I come around, and the woman who has the learning struggles is frantically plunging the toilet. The water is running over into the floor, and she keeps trying to flush, and she just keeps running the water. And the other woman has a mop and is trying to mop while the and I'm like, "Oh gosh, what happened?" "Oh, the toilet, it's clogged. It won't quit. It won't go down." And I keep playing. I said, "Well, first off, stop trying to flush because you're not, number one, it's not filling up. But number two, the water's not going down. Stop plunging like that because you're just throwing the water back into the floor." And so by this point there, and it hadn't been that long, there's enough water in the bathroom floor that you splash when you just barely put your foot down. So she backed up and she's all frantic, and I'm like, "It's just okay, just hold on, just calm down because just tell me what's going on." There's a lot of shreds of paper in the water. There's no solids that I see other than that. And she said, "Well, I just, I flushed it and it ran over, and I'm just trying to." And I said, "Just hang on. Let's find something to get some of this water out of here. Let's throw it in the bucket, throw it outside." I mean, so we're trying to get the level of the water down out of the bowl so that we can try to work with it. And we probably spent an hour or more trying to plunge, and the water's barely going down. I mean, just wee tiny little bit going down. And the other lady says, "Robin, you've been plunging for a long time. Here, let me do that." "Oh, let me go get a coat hanger and a wire coat hanger and stuff back through there, and we'll see if we can get it." And I thought to myself, "It's not gonna. This isn't what you need to do." But let her try to help. So she undoes this wire coat hanger, and she bends it a little bit, and she's trying to stuff it up through the toilet. It ain't going anywhere. "Oh, I just can't get it. I can't get it." I said, "Well, we need a different type of plunger. This type of plunger is not made for a commode. It's made for like a sink or a drain in the floor. It's one of those flat ones. So we need one of those with the lip on it that gets back down in there. Um, and we might even have to have one of those things that, and I know now it's called an auger, a toilet auger, but at the time I didn't realize what it was called. I was calling it a snake. And I said, "It's like a toilet snake, and you do this, and it goes through, and it tears up the clog, and it all goes." I said, I'll give it some thought and I'll decide. Well, I already knew I was going to go to the hardware to Lowe's and get the plunger and the auger. I just didn't want, it's kind of a long story. I didn't want them there waiting on me to get back, making it worse. I told him, I said, mix up some mop water with bleach and we'll get this, and put the gloves on, because this is toilet water. You don't want to get this on you. And let's get this as dry as we can, and then we'll see. So that was an effort, explaining that. And I don't know. Then it was like, where are we going to pour this water now that we've mopped it up? Pour it out in the grass. Just pour it out the back door there. Pour it out in the grass. But just the level of. But anyway, so I went to Lowe's. I got the auger. I come back. I also got that other plunger, and so I used the plunger, and it didn't help. But water had seeped almost all the way out, so I knew water was getting past it, which I suspected anyway. So water had seeped almost all the way out of the bowl and down the drain, down through the drain. So I knew that water could get past it, and I kind of was thinking initially, could it be frozen because we hadn't had any heat? No, that doesn't make any sense because this line is almost directly on the ground. It would have gone down below any freeze line. Plus, it didn't get freezing in here. It did get down into the upper 40s, lower 50s in the room, as far as I knew, but it hadn't gotten to freezing in the building. So the plunger, when I come back with the plunger, it didn't seem to help much at all. And so I got the auger, and I, opened the package up, and I put the auger through there, and I felt it give when it went, and all this, drained out, and I flushed it a couple times, and it flushed just fine. And it's just been paper. Nothing came back on the end of the auger. So it's just been too much paper stuffed in that. And so that was it was a relief because I got it unclogged. But on top of the heating issue and setting up the room with no help, I was just already just wore out, just stressed to the point where I was ready to collapse. And in fact, when I come home and I took a shower and I sat down and, I had to clean my shoes because I wasn't over there ready for that, my shoes were wet. It just was awful, but I was just exhausted. So we make it through. I was setting up for our Bible study, and I was having trouble with the stream because the signal for my phone, to use my phone as the Wi-Fi, as a hotspot, I had one little spot, where I had enough bars that the signal was strong enough to stream the video. And an overhead light that kept kicking off and on, and just other aggravations. And so we got through Bible study, and then I come home and I just sat down and I just absolutely collapsed. Well, something just fell over. I don't know if one of the cats is in here, if it's a mouse. Like it's a 4-foot rat. But I just come home and I sat down in the chair and I just collapsed. And I was out like a light. I'd slept through the night, but I'm just so overwhelmed with all that stuff that I was out for about an hour and a half in that chair, and got up and still wasn't feeling that great. Still kind of drug out, and then get up this morning to the busted hot water tank. So I just decided I'm going to record this today, take my time with it, and it may hit an hour, it may not hit an hour, but I'm just tired. I'm really tired. I blocked off the calendar for Holstein House, so we won't be getting any reservations at least through Monday, because I have no hot water, and without hot water, you just don't have guests. The tap water is like flipping ice cold. I'm surprised ice chunks weren't coming through when I was washing my hair. It was cold. It was cold. And I didn't want to. I have a basin. I could bring the basin in and put some hot water in and all that stuff, but I didn't want to go through all of that yet. If I have to do that to clean up to go to church on Sunday, yeah, we'll see. But I've got all day tomorrow to figure that out. Um, so I'm really exhausted, just brain exhausted, and that's hard. That's hard because it's almost like there's no rest for your brain when you get that exhausted. So this time tomorrow, well, when you're seeing this, hopefully, if I get it set up right, when you're seeing this, actually, I hope to be fussing because stuff's in my way and we're trying to get a new hot water tank in here. it's just insane. It's just insane. And I probably should have saved that for later. I should have went through all of my regular stuff and saved that for later. But I kind of felt like you needed to know a little bit about why this isn't live after all today. So, welcome. Welcome to the Holstein House podcast. I'm still planning next week. This is episode 48. And I'm still planning that next Friday will be live at 10 Eastern Daylight Time, US. And we will have our 50th episode giveaway. I'm going to be giving away I don't have them down here. I would have had them, I guess. I have a little tin enamel, an enamel coffee mug that has the Holstein House Hip Camp logo on it. I have a ceramic mug that has the oval Holstein House logo on it, and a t-shirt that will have the round Holstein House logo on it that I will be giving away next Friday. And we're going to use the StreamYard giveaway tool, and that will I'll have a couple of 3 hashtags that I'll share with you right before I do the giveaway, and we'll give everybody a chance to use them, and then we'll do the fountain giveaway wheel, and we'll give those away. I will have them directly shipped to you. Has to be continental US address. I will ship them from my Etsy shop to you. So it's not. I won't be shipping it from Holstein House directly. It'll come from the Etsy shop. I'll set it up to ship directly to you. And you will need to be live because you're going to have to know those hashtags, and you'll have to, put it in the comments so that the StreamYard giveaway tool can choose from those comments. We're live. Well, we're not live today, but we're recording the podcast is part of the Value for Value exchange. We are on most, if not all, of the major podcasting applications. If you are hearing us on Fountain, which is one of our favorites, and you feel anything I say today is of value, or learn something, it makes you angry, it makes you laugh, we hope that you will share that value in the form of Satoshis. I'm trying to resist using the phrase tip, but we may have to go back to that because it's just easier. The rest of the other ways are kind of clunky. And I'm trying to come up with a way to say tip without, there's a podcast called the Permaculture Podcast. And Billy Bonds uses the phrase tip a pimp. And it's not the kind of pimp that you see, beating up the hookers on the street. This is an abbreviation for permaculture is my passion. And so he says tip a pimp, and that's kind of fun. It's easy to say. It's easy to remember. And I was trying to come up with one for the Holstein House podcast. And the only one I've got really is that Josh over at Josh the Renegade Butcher over at Liberty Meats is saying, don't tip a cow, tip a Holstein. And that's kind of groan worthy. But so far, that's the only one anybody's shared. So Don't tip a cow, tip a Holstein. Or tip this Holstein. Or tip Robin Holstein. I don't know. We'll think of something. But if you guys use Telegram, it's over on the Telegram app for the Holstein House chat. So look it up and and share your thoughts on that. Direct book guests. Have the option of choosing our still till the end of the month, choosing the coffee and chocolates special that we have for Holstein House. That's not something you can get through Airbnb. So if you're wanting to stay, go to robinholstein.com, go to the menu and choose Holstein House, and you'll have the option for the direct booking site or the Airbnb booking. And those of you, we always prefer our direct book guests, and we always give them the benefits and lots of goodies. So we hope you will go over and use that. The podcast had here a little while back a wasn't derogatory in the traditional sense, but we had an account called Afro Thy Mix, AFROTHYMIX, make a kind of little snarky comment about, you need to be ready sooner. I waited and it wasn't ready, and I'll be back. And he did give me like 3,000 satoshis, which is fine. But I decided, hey, I will use that as a promo code over in my Etsy shop at Holstein House. And so if you go to the Etsy shop for Holstein House and you go through and you get ready to check out and it asks for a promo code, if you use Afro Thy Mix, AFROTHYMIX, you can get 5% off your total order over there. If you're not sure about the spelling, then in the show notes, we'll have all of that in there, a link and the correct spelling. I talked about that. Home. Oh my gosh. I've already talked so much about the household here. It's just insane. But I don't know if I shared with you. I will also have a link to the YouTube video below. I did a YouTube. A few weeks ago, I ordered some of the sugar-free breakfast sausage seasoning from Renegade Butcher, Josh over Renegade Butcher. He uses stevia. So I did have someone ask me specifically, is it sugar-free or is it stevia? And so I assume that there are some folks that stevia is not an acceptable substitute for white cane sugar. But his breakfast sausage blend is really good with that stevia. And I did a little video on making, taking some ground pork, putting the seasoning mix in it, cooking it up and eating it and what all. It was really, really good. So I'll have a link for that down in the show notes as well. But it was really good. And I encourage you to look up Renegade Butcher. And I've got his links and stuff below as well. And consider ordering his specialty blends. And he's starting up. He may have already got it started, but he's going to start up a seasoning of the month club, where for a particular fee, and you'll have to go to his site to get all the details on that. Right now, I can't think of them all. That it's not a whole lot. I don't know if it's $10 or $15 a month or something, but you will get a packet of his seasoning blends, and it's a good size little packet considering how much you use. I mean, you use less than a tablespoon of it in a pound of meat, and sometimes not even that. Depends on what you're doing with it. But it's some good stuff over there. Hip Camp, haven't done anything with Hip Camp yet. I've not had any folks sign up for it, which is a blessing in disguise right now because of all of the other challenges that I've been having. We did have, as we get to talking about Holstein House, we did have our first guest who requested to charge their electric vehicle. That was over the weekend. He didn't bring a charger with him. He did bring a charger with him. It was a standard charger plugged into a regular outlet, and that all went fine, but I want to get one of the, and we kind of talked about this on Monday. I want to get one of those charging station things. It wouldn't have to be the fancy ones like you see down in town and stuff. This could be a pole mounted unit that connects with an app that allows the individual to pay through the app for the electric that they've used. And I want to do that because I want to, first off, it's a little easier than me trying to calculate how much they think they're going to use when they charge the vehicle. Second, it makes my taxes a lot easier because I have to pay taxes on that, on any income that I get on that. And third, it just makes things a lot easier than when I can say, hey, if you have an electric vehicle, here's an option for you. Because I don't provide fuel for gasoline or diesel drivers. I mean, if I charge this guy $5, let's say, just to use my electric, I don't give him $5 worth of gasoline. So, I mean, other people, I don't give them gasoline or propane or any, I don't give them that kind of stuff. So this would be a little better. It'd be a little better for marketing as well, for me to be able to say, electric vehicles are welcome because we have a charging station that you pay through directly. You're not going to let me, jerk you around, whether it's my electric is costs what we think it costs. So, but now, I think it was Josh did say, find out how much it is for me, and let's say it was $5, and then double it and make that the charge. So I would be charging people $10 to charge their Teslas or whatever other, electronic or electric vehicles. I don't know if that's, I don't mind making a profit. I just don't know if that's, I don't know. I have to think about that a little more. But I do know that they make those chargers, and there is an app out there. I just have to get to it again. But that might even be good for hip campers too. So if I had an available 40 amp plug, 50 amp plug, is it 50 amps? I forget. I'm not an electrician, and there's a reason for that. So no chicks, no ducklings yet. This is getting aggravating for me. I wanted to already have them 2 weeks ago. I don't have them yet. Every week that goes by is another week that I'm not going to have eggs um, come this fall. But I mean, it's just been one hit after the other that I just can't. If they had been here when this hot water tank had gone, um, they could have had a lot. Well, the ducks would have been fine, but it just would have created a wet mess. Plus, then having the door open that would have chilled them. With the door open, trying to get the water out, dump the shop vac, change out the hot water tanks. I mean, it would have just made it too cold on them. So it's just as well I didn't already have them, but it's really frustrating to me that I don't have them yet because I want to get, I think I have to have 6 anyway, but I want to get 3 of each, 3 ducklings, 3 chicks, maybe 2 chicks and 4 ducklings. But it's going to be something like that. Oh, Bob and Betty have been fine. Bob, here he comes down here now, shaking his head. They've been in the cat food again, so Bob's shaking he gets ear infections from it. It's crazy, I know. But then he scratches. He and Betty both just scratch all the time because they're allergic to the poultry in the cat food. And I come in after Bible study, and one of them, probably Betty because she's taller, but I can't guarantee it, had flipped the cat food bowl over, and the reason being taller makes a difference is because the one cat wants fed up in a chair. She doesn't like to eat on the floor, so her cat food sets up in a chair. That's the one had been knocked over into the floor and flipped upside down, and cat food was everywhere, dry cat food. So, that's the chocolate and coffee stay package. It's good for stays until March 31st. It's not available for Airbnb bookings. I'm reading off my list of things here. So, yeah, if you go to the direct book for Holstein House, you'll have the option for the chocolate and coffee stay package. And I really don't, I mean, I'm just kind of so aggravated over this series of crappy events. It's just not even funny. It's one of the Telegram groups that I'm in. I've used the Dana Carvey uh, uh, GIF for the church lady. For those of you who are of a certain age, you remember Dana Carvey doing the church lady on Saturday Night Live, and he would dress up like a woman, in the Catholic Church, it was supposed to be. And she would just say, "Isn't that special?" Or she would say, ask a question, and it'd be and something negative or something sinful, and she would say, "Could it be Satan?" And then it'd have an echo, "Satan, Satan, Satan, Satan." Well, I don't make it any secret in these chats that I go to church, and I think a lot of my church, and I follow Christ and all that stuff. And some of the guys will purposely pick and say things, and some of them get kind of edgy about it. They just kind of get, you can tell that they don't like it, but they're not going to say a whole lot because I didn't really provoke them. So, but I have said more than once that, Satan's trying to shut my church down, and I'm going to go down fighting tooth and nail. And I was talking about the series of things that have gone wrong in the last couple of weeks. And I used the phrase, "Could it be Satan, dot, dot, Satan, dot, dot, Satan, dot, dot," making fun of the, kind of leaning towards the church lady character. And somebody rolled their eyes and said, "Yes, we get it." It was kind of, I'm not trying to push my religion on you. You guys come at me. Well, not you. I'm just saying, I'm thinking to myself as I'm reading this comment that, I don't proselytize in these groups, and you got and members of the groups will use some really filthy language and say some really awful things. And it's just part of it. And it's not that I don't care, but I don't care. It's not upsetting me. I'm not the one saying it. I'm not the one who's going to have to answer for it. And I can only lead by example if they want to follow. If they don't want to follow, then I'm not leading them. But yeah, there's a couple of them that get kind of tore up. But I do believe, in Christ. I believe in the battle of good spirits and evil spirits, and I believe that in this battle that Satan is trying to shut my church down so that we can't reach people. I also know that at the end of the book, we win, but there's a lot of battles that we're going to lose, and that's part of the process of getting to the end times. And there are people who want to believe in all manner of things, and yet they don't want to believe Christ, but they want to believe in totems, and they want to believe in mystics, and they want to believe in charms and burning incense or sage smudging and things to get rid of the evil spirit. They want to believe in all these things, but if I say I believe in Christ, oh my gosh, it's awful. I'm crazy. I believe what you want, but don't be dissing me. You believe that you can run away evil spirits by smoking some sage, smoldering it so that the smoke goes all in the room, and that'll cleanse the air and get rid of the evil spirits. But you don't, but if I'm talking about Satan, you're rolling your eyes and talking about how dumb that is. That's not like, either there are evil spirits or they're not. Now, once you accept the fact that there are, then how are you dealing with them? If you want to deal with them by burning sticks and twigs and things and shaking them around and saying a few magic words or throwing some magic means out the window, okay, fine. I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to do it through prayer. And I'm praying to a higher power. Yes, I'm praying to Christ. because I follow Christ and I follow his teachings. And his teachings are just as legitimate as anybody else's. So, I don't know. Sorry. I didn't want to go over that way. I have neglected for several weeks now to acknowledge the folks who are sharing, who are contributing Satoshis to me over on the value for value exchanges. And, you know, I'm ashamed of myself for doing that. HJ has been very good at supporting me. So has Euphrosynos for a while. And there's a couple others who kind of, come in and go out and stuff. So I want to acknowledge them and say I'm sorry for not acknowledging you for the past several weeks. It's like things just get ahead of me and away from me. And sometimes when I upload to Fountain, it doesn't upload very well. In that it takes a long time. And I know it's still kind of glitchy because it's still new, and I'm not, bad mouthing them, but sometimes it takes a long time. And so then I guess this overlaps. So I can upload, maybe I don't get the Tuesday episode uploaded until late Wednesday, and it's not live, and nobody's had a chance to hear it by the time I go live on Friday. And so they don't comment back, and it just kind of overlaps. And then sometimes I just don't have time to get it all done. So it's when you have to upload the audio separately, and I haven't figured out a better way to do that yet. So when I have to upload that audio separately, that means I have to spend the extra time right behind this show to upload that. And it sometimes will cause me a few headaches here and there. Oh, let's see. We've been right at 50 minutes. I think that's really about all. I don't know that I have anything else to share right now. I'm sure there's some current events and news stuff. I mean, I really haven't talked about the banks closing, and that's kind of almost sort of settled itself. And I haven't talked about Bitcoin in a long time. And I haven't talked about wallets in a long time. And I haven't talked about a lot of those things for a long time. It's just like I just can't get it back, all the genie back in the bottle on those things. So I'm going to start wrapping up there, and I'm going to get this set to go live. Live, it's pre-recorded, but set to load on Friday at 10. And I'm going to go take some Tylenol for this monster headache I've got, and maybe lay down for a little bit, because I just it's just been stressful and worn me out. Spring's here officially. It's on the calendar. I need to I think it's April the 23rd is the last frost date, average last frost date. So I've still got a couple weeks to go before I can get anything in the ground. I'll do container garden again. I do need to go get the soil. I think I want to get bulk soil from the local feed and seed store this year. I have used store-bought stuff before. Last year was a nightmare, and I don't think it was just me. I think last year a lot of folks who bought topsoil and garden soil and container soil from the big box stores were really, really disappointed. So I think I'm going to get that from. I don't have a big enough place to do composting at the level I need to do it to have the soil and the compost for a container garden every year. It's just I just don't have enough property to do it. Let's see. I do have a couple of links in the show notes for other programs. If you want to stop by and give a look at those, my Etsy's, my stuff. I don't talk very much about the books that I've written. I kind of touched on them first time in a long time on Monday, but I've done Everyday Upcycle. These are all available on Amazon. Under Robin A. Holstein. There's other Robin Holsteins out there that have books. Robin A. Holstein. Everyday Upcycle is an upcycle book that I did several years ago based on columns that I did for Two Lane Living. I started a second edition on that and then have just gotten distracted and never come back to it, but I have enough to do a second edition on it. Nursery rhymes my grandma told me, which is kind of self-explanatory. These are nursery rhymes from my grandma told me. 25 favorite home cooked recipes. Again, these are uh, main meals and desserts and things that are some of my favorite, even venison recipe and stuff. Think Outside the Office is the first book I ever wrote. It's a little dated, but it's still available because it's that publish on demand kind of stuff. And I published it in 2010. But it was the first book I did when I was a virtual administrative professional, and was also a member of IAAP, and I was doing some talks around the state, and it was a publication that I did and was able to sell on starting your own home business as a virtual administrative professional. So they call those different things now. And so it was working from home before it was cool. 10 years. Well, 13 years ago, 2010. Again, I have the Etsy shop, which has a few little neat things available there. Shirts, cups, um, enamel cups, and an apron. I think I got an apron on there. A backpack, maybe a backpack. I can't remember now. I didn't order all of them. I'm going to order some more. I ordered samples of the ceramic cups and the tin cups and the stickers. I got some little stickers. And that was it for the samples. I need to order a couple other samples. So we'll get that taken care of pretty soon. A whole list of social media and other sites that you can connect with me on, and a bunch of disclaimers because YouTube is kind of particular about music and stuff, and there's some disclaimers in there on some of the music and things that I might use from time to time. But I hope you enjoyed this. Got a little bit of good listening out of it. I'm sorry I won't be live like I had hoped on the 24th of March, but if you made it this far, you understand why. So I will stop there, and I thank you. I thank you very much for coming out and spending a little time with me today. And keep me in your prayers if you're the praying type, and because it's just so much going on right now. But we'll talk to you again soon. We'll see you Tuesday live. See you then. Bye bye.